In focus, Congressman Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, Judiciary Committee Chairman and Oversight Committee member as well. Chairman, good to see you today. First of all, just your top-line thoughts about what we're learning in these hearings, and I want to remind everybody, this is on the schedule each year. But the timing of this one matters.
Well, I just want to underscore what the Director of National Intelligence said. She said Iran has nuclear capability, pursuing nuclear capability capable of reaching the homeland. That's us. That's why this operation is so darn important. And while this operation is going on, and after the last few weeks of terrorist attacks here on the homeland, the Democrats continue to have a partial shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. I remember when President Trump said the divide in America today is crazy versus common sense. It is crazy to not fund the Department of Homeland Security when all this is going on. A military operation in Iran, who are pursuing nuclear capability with the potential to reach the homeland, terrorist attacks happening here in our country, and you're going to keep the Department of Homeland Security shut down? That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. So hopefully they will come to their senses in the Senate and fund the Department of Homeland Security.
Look, you and I have talked about this before. Hope is not a strategy. Prayer is. But you got to have something now to get them to move. And my question for you, because on the Hill, you always have like those conversations, those sideline conversations. Are there any that are fruitful right now?
Well, I hope so. And again, I think at some point, with just the practical implications of this shutdown, where people who are traveling are feeling it at the airports with TSA agents, I think at some point constituents start calling up Democrat United States senators and saying, hey, quit being crazy. After all, we're in a conflict with Iran. We've had terrorist attacks, and I don't like waiting 2 hours at the airport, for goodness sake. So why don't you do the common sense thing and fund the government?
All right, let's get to this. Senator John Fetterman, often and really never afraid to buck his party and speak his conscience. He is the critical of Democrats' knee-jerk response to U.S. action against Iran's terrorist regime. Let's watch.
Who do you think leads the Democratic Party today?
Oh, we don't have one. I think the TDS. I think that's the leader right now. You know, right now our party is governed by the TDS, and now it's made it virtually impossible, without being punished as a Democrat, to agree something's good, or I agree with the other side.
Oh my goodness, Chairman. The admission that there's no leader, no leadership on the Democrat side of the ticket. He's talking Senate. You're in the House. Is it like that there, too?
Yeah, it's funny because when the question was asked, I didn't know what he was going to say. But in my mind, I actually thought, well, the only thing that unifies them is going after President Trump. And that's exactly what Senator Fetterman answered it with. So that to me is that's accurate. We all see it every single day. We see it in committee markups, committee hearings. We see it all. We see it on the House floor. Their one thing that unites them, the one focus they have, is going after President Trump. And I think part of it is because President Trump's that unique elected official who actually does what he said. He actually cut taxes like he said he did. He actually secured the border like he told us he was going to do. He actually said we're not going to let Iran get nuclear capability. Here's a guy who does what he told the voters he was going to do when he ran for the job. We elected him, and he is doing what he said. I think that frustrates him in such a big way. But yeah, that's the one unifying principle they have on the other side.
Well, and when he says TDS is governing the Democrat Party, well, they have another governor, if you want to say, and that's the far, far left of that party, which really is not rooting for us to do anything, accomplish anything, to do anything good against Iran. That's a heck of leadership, one that is absent and focused on a president, and the other one that's rooting against America.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a key issue in this campaign. I think, and I always say not all Democrats are crazy, but the left that controls their party is. And I think so much of this midterm election is going to be they're crazy, we're not. And go tell the voters, if you want to go back to an open border, if you want men and women's sports, if you want to defund the police, if you want to abolish ICE, if you want sanctuary cities, if you want all these crazy policies, vote for the Democrats. If you want common sense, stick with the Republicans. I think that'll be a key element in this midterm election. And we have to just go tell the voters, remind the voters how crazy it was 4 years under Joe Biden and all the things they did, including just last fall, not Joe Biden, but the Democrats shutting the government down for 43 days and now 30-some days while we're in a conflict with Iran, while we know what the Department of National Intelligence just testified to what Iran's trying to do. Lay all that out. They're crazy, we're not, is, I think, going to be an important element in this midterm election.
Well, look, you won't have to go back to next year if this keeps going. I mean, last year, if this keeps going on, you can just say a few weeks ago. At this point, because this is not a good spot. Chairman Jordan, always great to have you. Thank you very much.
You bet, Harris. Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.